To outline what has happened so far in what I consider a bit of a land dispute between me and the Leeds Federated Housing Association. The person next door, a woman, has put up a fence, a border fence. My issue is that the boundary fence that is running north-south has been moved from the deeds. What it says on the deeds belongs to me, and she has encroached, therefore, on my land. And what I'm asking for is for that part of the fence to be moved back in line with the boundary of the deeds to both our properties. The fence was built in the week beginning the 22nd of May. I was not given any notice by her or by the Housing Association that it was going to be done. So I don't really know who constructed it and on whose authority it was done, whether it was just her or whether it was the association, the Leeds Federated Housing Association. I contacted them through their website on the 2nd of June. Asking them formally if they owned the property, explaining that there had been a fence erected that I felt was moving the deed boundaries, and asking them basically if it belonged to them. The following Monday, that happened on a Friday, the following Monday was the 5th of June, and I don't think they are aware that I know this, but they paid a visit. There was a van that came around just before lunchtime, and it was from the Leeds Federated Housing Association, and a guy went in and had a look at the fence that was erected in the back garden. So I know that they had assessed it in person by the 5th of June. I had also done by this stage a video myself of the fence viewing from my sort of perspective, and put that online already. I'm just going to do a short video concerning what I think is an illegal annexation of part of my land by next door. This boundary fence, I'm told, belongs to her, and it comes down here, but it stops there and it turns this way so that a gate can be put in. I think that's the only reason. I don't know of any reason why else the fence running down there does not just run straight to the very bottom, because on my deeds that's the diagram that it shows. The diagram shows that basically from the end of the fence there, a straight line all the way down to the sort of sally port, the shared tunnel. And what she's done here is I think she has moved the boundary that far from there across to here. And what I am going to try and do is say, look, this fence needs to be moved back to be in line with that there, which would mean that she keeps that tree, but I have the pine and its companion tree here. By the 12th of June, I had still had no contact from the association. They had never replied to me via email or by phone. So they had not in fact even told me or confirmed that the house belonged to them. I personally think this is extremely rude, actually, and that they should have got in touch with me to let me know that they had visited the house and the fence, that they had claimed ownership, and to tell me what they were going to do, because by that stage the fence was still there. There was no sign that they were doing anything. So I decided that I would have to phone them this time. And I phoned on the 12th of June, and I got through to their customer services, who didn't really seem to know anything about my case at all. And I was asked if I could contact via email Linda Cullen. I don't know what position she holds, but I was told to contact her and send photographs of my deeds. Now, there are two things that are a little bit disconcerting here. First, they had still not said to me that they owned the house or admitted that they had visited the property. And secondly, because they are owners of the house, I don't really understand why they don't have a copy of the deeds themselves, which will prove exactly the same thing as mine. I don't know if that was too hard to find for them or what. I don't know if there's complications with the owner, the current person who's living there renting. I don't know, because they haven't got in contact with me. So here is the charge certificate, the main land registry deed for my property, and inside it it shows all the people who have bought it, and as it's passed on, etc., etc., from place to place. It then shows at the back the actual picture of the property here. Now, you probably can't see this incredibly well, but it's got my front garden there, it's got my house there, it's got my back garden there, and it's got the part of the car park that I own. Originally, you have to understand that this road was going to be slightly different. The numbers were slightly different. My number originally, when it was planned, was actually number 47 rather than number 33. But there we are. The actual layout of the house and the street is exactly the same. You will note that there is a straight line here. There is a straight line coming out of the back of the house to the pathway at the back. That line is perfectly straight all the way down. And here is possibly a better picture. And what you have here is, this is the front garden, there's the house, and this is the back garden. This is my neighbour's property, and you can see clearly a straight line from the back of my door all the way down to the very bottom, to where the path runs along. Now, at the moment, what you have is a physical fence that was there when I arrived, down, but only until that position there. And then you have a fence across here with my gate at the top there. And what she's done is she's built her fence across the bottom, which is fair enough, but she's joined, she's built it along there, and she's actually built up, and she's connected right next to my gate, which means that this tiny portion of land here, which has a pine tree in it at that end, has been annexed. It's been illegally annexed, and the reason this matters is because, as the homeowner, when I come to sell this property, the people that buy it from me will get a copy of these deeds like this, okay, with that straight line that runs all the way to the very bottom, okay. And if it's not in practice physically as it is on here, there could be a land dispute there which will hold up procedures, particularly if the tenant here has left, and so there has been somebody who's arrived there who's always had that fence there, who maybe didn't see the deeds because it's a housing association property, and then they haven't sort of legally purchased it themselves in their own right. My solution to this is simple. I would like contact, written preferably, online or by post, from the Leeds Federated Housing Association. I would like it by the 19th of June, which gives them almost a week. And I really like that removal or the sort of moving back to be done by the end of this month. Which still leaves about 2 or 3 weeks, which I think is perfectly fair since it only took a week to put up in the first place. And I'm literally asking for about 2 panels to move for about 2 panels width, so it's not a huge task. After the 1st of July, I am prepared to go to Harrogate Borough Council. And the reason I'm going to go to Harrogate Borough Council is because if you are putting up a border fence for the first time where there was none before, whilst you're allowed to do that, you do actually need council planning permission. Other thing that I am tempted to do is go to the Housing Ombudsman, because really they should have got back to me. They should have said, we've been to the property, we have assessed it, here is our assessment, here is what we're going to do. They shouldn't have ignored the issue, sounded surprised when I phoned up, and then asked me for a copy of the deeds when they should have a copy of the deeds for the house next door, which would clearly show the same as mine. If it shows different, then there's an issue with the land registry there, but I very, very much doubt it does. Hope that that satisfies those who wish to see my evidence, and I look forward to hearing their response, and hopefully it will be positive and in good spirit, and we will be able to get this sorted out very, very quickly.